What's up? It's James from James' Reptiles, and today is going to be a bunch of random stuff. So I'm going to start with expanding my mice colony, my mouse colony, and let's just jump right into that. Alright, so you might be wondering why this mouse is in a tub, and I'll explain that in just a second. But first, I want to go over these right here. So I have all my mice breeding, and on purpose, I let this little tiny litter, I probably pulled a couple pinkies or fuzzies when they were smaller, but I let this little tiny litter get bigger, and hopefully out of this 6 I'll get maybe 4 girls. They're kind of all looking like boys, or I can't tell, or something. I don't know what's up with this little group, but I can't tell for some reason. Usually I could tell at this young, but I'll wait for him to get a little bit bigger, and I'll just keep all the females back and the males I'll end up feeding off. And this enclosure actually has, voila, nothing in it. Because this mouse is not from here, but it is going in this enclosure. This mouse is a male from my buddy Armando Palacios. Every time I need a new male and I want to start a new project or change out my male, I'll ask him for one, and he'll always hit me up with one and bring one to work. We are co-workers. And he specifically wanted to give me one with big cojones. So that male will be with whatever these babies end up growing up to be female. So those 6 down there, whatever are female, are going to go with this male. And that'll be my 3rd mouse breeding group. So I have these 2 right here on top of my rats, and the rats are eventually going to go away. This is the last litter. So as they grow up and they either get sold off or used as snake food, these will grow up, and I'll put the females in with him in here. Then I'll have 3 instead of 2 mouse breeding groups. And basically the reason I'm doing that is because as my snakes get bigger, I have to wait longer for the mice to grow older. And if I have to wait longer, they have to eat more while they wait. So I just need to produce a little bit just a little bit faster, so I can put a bunch in the freezer while I use my stuff that's already in the freezer. And I'll be golden. You know, everything will be good. And let me flip this. Now I'm going to the bay in like 3 weeks. I'm going to the bay I live in, basically Sacramento, like 20 minutes outside of Sac. So the bay is 2.5 hours roughly, depending on traffic. So I don't get out there too often, especially with all the reptiles, and I work a lot. But I had plans with my girlfriend to go out there. And the reason we were gonna go is so I could hit up East Bay and get some more, what do you call them, milk frog tadpoles, because they're blue. And one of the things I mentioned in the previous video is I want to get a lot of blue animals and breed blue animals and work with blue animals. And she definitely wants to go, and we're definitely going to do other stuff. But actually just today I had someone hit me up about Vietnamese blue beauties. And he's got a clutch of eggs. It's got about 3 weeks to hatch. He said he doesn't have a list, but if I follow him, he'll post pictures right when they hatch. And if I hit him up, I'm going to get one. And that even if I forget, he said if he remembers, he'll hit me up and he'll get me a female. And really at this point, if it's $250, maybe even if it's a $300 snake, I'll probably pick it up. It's just a snake that I really want. It's that blue that I really wanted. I've kind of wanted it. I've known I wanted it in the back of my head since I first heard about him just over a year ago. Almost exactly, just like a year and a week ago is when I first heard about him. But as soon as I saw it, kind of like, I knew I was going to want it eventually. It's just a big blue snake, long. It's not even blue, it's kind of like gray blue, but it's such a pretty animal. And I'd love to have it in my collection, probably keep it for a year and then buy a male. Or I have a friend who's kind of getting out of the hobby, and he's keeping a lot of his pet animals for a while and then selling them. And he's got a male that he said he'd probably get rid of. And I told him, if you ever do, let me know first, I'll buy it off of you. And so I'm kind of just waiting for that, for the male. Because the male that he has, the parents of that male, the dad was 12 foot 9 inches. Now, Vietnamese beauty snakes are a long snake, but that's crazy. I would love that blood in with my female, like a bunch of large snake babies. And I would definitely keep a trio back and produce even more in a couple of years. I've just been loving snakes more and more as I have my king snakes getting bigger and my corn snakes getting bigger. It's this year, instead of buying what I would do if I wasn't getting Vietnamese blue beauties is I would buy more corns. Like last year I bought 4 and I tried to get 2 pairs, one of them both male. So I sold those 2 off and I kept this one because this is most likely a pair. Sorry, I'm wiggling the camera a lot. It's not guaranteed, but it's most likely a pair. It's possible they're 2 boys, but it's most likely a pair. And of course with corns there's all sorts of hets that I'm not familiar with because I'm not super involved in the corn community. But what I would do is I'd buy another pair each year, so that way when I first produce these ones, when I get them to reproduce, I don't have a 3-year gap before I can raise up more babies and I just keep breeding the one pair for 3 years. What I want to do is buy a pair, wait a year, buy another pair, so that way I'll reproduce them the first year and I'll try to figure out how corns and snakes work, and I'll probably mess it up and I'll end up with like 1 good egg or something stupid like that. And then next year when the second pair is ready, then I'll have 2 clutches to breed, and even if I mess one up I still have a good one, and of course double clutches. And then the next year when I'm really getting it dialed in, I'll have 3 pairs, and then on the 4th year I'll have a pair from the first, I'll have a holdback pair from the first pairing that'll be up to size, or even 2, and that's when I really pick up speed. And that's what I'm doing with my cresteds right now. Cresteds are a lot faster than snakes. It's a year and a half usually, and I'm holding back I think like 6 babies plus a lily white, or maybe 5 plus a lily white. And once those start producing, I'll have a lot more to pick from, and with that, what I mean by that is I'm basically going to keep the best of the best, because if I breed the best of the best, then the babies come out the best of the best and they sell better and I make more. And the end goal is to be able to quit my job and work with reptiles full time. So that's just how that is. I'm probably going to show you one of my ball pythons and figure out something else for the last couple of minutes of the video. Alright, so right here I have my ball python, what I believe to be a male. His name's Steve. I'm about to replace his water, that's why we're just going to go over his story real quick. Steve belongs to my girlfriend's dad, and he's had him for some 7-8 years since he was a baby, I believe. And when she moved in, they said, well, why don't you take Steve? You have all these animals. We don't really pay a ton of attention to him anyway. And I said, yeah, for sure. So this is the hide that he has. And Steve's right here. Steve can be moody sometimes, and he'll hiss at me sometimes, but other times we're chill. And I just have him in this rack with my other ball python and my roaches. But this is Steve. I'll probably videotape myself trying to pick him up, and you can see how his temperament is. Alright, here we go. Nothing yet. Steve's chilling. Took him out the other day and he was hissing at me. But I want to check under his hide for dookies. He's got a small little piece right there, but today's Wednesday. I feed him on Friday, so I'll probably just leave it. But yeah, this is Steve. We're chilling. I'm always afraid when I'm holding my big ball pythons because they're so slow, and I'm not used to them, so I'm not sure how they're gonna act or how to predict them. But I'm always afraid that they're gonna strike at me because they strike with such power. These ball pythons are so girthy and large. It's all muscle. There he goes, off to the void. One last thing is, I don't think I showed it in the other video. This is my 9-gallon Flue Ball Flex with the curved front. Built-in filter. I have the heater in the back, so it's nice and clean back there. Except the glass is really dirty. But right there in front of the rosy barbs, or the rummy nose, you can see my leopard Plecostomus. It's about 4 or 5 inches. And that Siamese alligator, I believe that's what that was the biggest fish in here before, besides that ceramic one my mom gave me. But this one was given to me by my buddy, and his girlfriend's aunt has a lot of exotic animals, and she couldn't, it was too big for her small tank. I don't know exactly what size she had, but it's definitely going to outgrow this in a couple months, so I'll take it to the local reptile store when it does. But for now, it's just chilling, and it's definitely with my mosquito fish that died in here. I don't know if anyone heard about that, but the fish were acting a lot calmer without it. And now that this fish is in here, they're all always hiding in the back. So we'll have to see, but they still have their stark red faces, which is a sign of good health and rummy nose. So we'll have to see what's up. And I do need to do a water change and clean the front of the tank. And I might actually re-scape it soon. We'll have to see. I trimmed this plant earlier today because it ends up blocking where I feed them, this little hole in the top where I feed them. And so I replanted in the back, so hopefully it just ends up growing more of it.